What's going on, veve fam? Welcome to veve Investments. I appreciate you tuning in. On today's episode, we're talking about recent community sentiment as well as the importance of compartmentalization. So if you guys enjoy the content, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what you want to see in a future episode. Without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy. So for anyone who's been on socials lately, I think you would have seen that there's a lot of negativity, to say the least, in the community lately. Now, when I say negativity, I'm talking about people creating FUD, but in addition to people like that, there's also a lot of people who are, worried about their investment. So in today's episode, I want to talk about some of the things that I see, my thoughts behind it all, and what are some of the things that I'm doing to kind of keep myself, focused. For anyone who follows me on Twitter, you guys will notice that I haven't really been too active lately, and that is one of the ways. I'm very big on, surrounding yourself with people who encourage what you're trying to do. And right now you can't hop on Twitter without seeing more negative tweets than you can positive. So the structure of today's video is going to be as follows. We're first going to start it off talking about community sentiment. Then we're going to move into multiple different examples of how you guys can use compartmentalization when making decisions with regards to your investment. So with that being said, let's hop into it. So this community is very up and down, to say the least. We got a lot of FUD one week, and then all of a sudden you got one piece of news and everybody's, oh my God, OMI's going to the moon, or veve's going to the moon. It's like a few weeks ago, we had people talking about how the token's pumping. Oh my God, this is it. Now the token's lower than when it first started pumping a few weeks ago. We have community sentiment that's super low, but then all of a sudden Sesame Street that gets announced and everybody's pumping their hands in the air. It's like you're on a roller coaster. One week you're going up the hill and then the next week you're going down the drop. But with regards to what's going on, guys, this is kind of what I do. So first off, and this kind of stems from just personal experience. The quiet ones are the ones you really need to watch. The ones who really know what's going on are the ones who are sitting back, watching it all happen and making their moves quietly. It reminds me of, I grew up training in martial arts. I trained for 9 years, competed for 7. And it reminds me of the tournaments I'd go to, and you'd see that one kid on the side of the ring, warming up, pacing back and forth, trying to look tough, like he's going to knock everyone out. And then all of a sudden he hops in the ring, gets beat by the one kid you least expect. It reminds me of stuff like that. The people who are on Twitter all the time making comments about every single move that veve's making, trying to act like shareholders, those are the types of people that I tend to, just scroll right past. So if you guys aren't familiar with this tool already, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's the veve tracker by veve Fox. But what it allows you to do is it allows you to track the top 100 wallets. So if you scroll down, you're going to see stats for the number of collectibles or comics that these wallets have minted, purchased, or sold. What you guys are going to notice, if you haven't already, is that these wallets are accumulating NFTs. They're not selling off, right? Look at number 5, 259 purchases, 0 sales. 165 purchases, 7 sales. 17 purchases, 4 sales. 99, 3, 65, 0, 309, 4, 103, 5, right? Something I've noticed in the couple years since I've invested in veve is that there is a very, very small number of people in this community who actually understand the true value of their investment. And I might actually even say that might be going a little too far, because the reality is no one really understands what veve has in store other than the veve team right now. But my point is that the people who understand what they're investing in right now are the ones who are acting as opposed to just talking. You know what I mean? It's actions over words. It's not hopping on Twitter and talking about all the things you wish veve has done. They're sitting there and they're looking at their investment objectively. If there are moves that veve has made that an individual like that does not like, then an individual like that will just sell and get out of their position. It's as simple as that. But you have people who are on Twitter complaining about, oh, I invested X amount of dollars during this time, and they said this back then. Okay, sure, yes, but you have full discretion over your money, okay? Don't say you can't cash out, because you can cash out right now. That brings me to my next point, right? Being able to separate emotion from logic when making decisions about your investment. Your decisions should be based on your position, not the moves of other people, all right? I put a tweet out when Cavell was selling off his portfolio. I'm like, why are so many people concerned about what one person is doing in the community? Not to mention that person is in a completely different position than many of the people who are judging his moves. Now, I won't lie. There's people in the community where I see screenshots of 7 partner statues and I go, oh my God, I wish I was in that position. But I'm not selling off all my belongings to make sure I'm in the same position as that guy. Take Dr. Profit as an example. He's got over 10,000 collectibles. I myself have a couple hundred. The guy clearly makes more money than I do. I'd be dumb to think otherwise. But just because he's in a position to be able to spend tens of thousands of dollars on the platform doesn't mean that I should try and put myself in a position to do the same. Because yes, you can underinvest, but there is also such thing as overinvesting, over leveraging, and that is something that can screw you over as well. Remind yourself why you originally invested in the project and act accordingly. Some people don't have the stomach for times like this. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing for you to sell off and buy in a little bit later down the road when things start picking back up again. You need to be able to analyze your own situation while taking everybody else's out of the equation. And here's something else I'll add to that, because I had somebody comment on one of my videos asking me what tools I'm learning and what tutorials they can watch to start learning some of these platforms like, Unity and Unreal Engine. And I told him, I said, pick, no more than 2 or 3 YouTubers and don't go above that, because what you're going to find is that when you start listening to many people about a specific topic, things start to contradict. So what I'm trying to say with this is that if there's anyone in the community that you're trying to follow or look up to, make sure they're in a position that you want to be in. So now I want to talk about the idea of compartmentalization. Okay, so for anyone who isn't familiar with this, what it is it's taking a topic or an idea and breaking it down into several different parts so that you can understand the bigger picture easier. So we're going to run through 5 examples here, and you guys did seem to really like the GPT episode that I did. So the last example that we run through is going to be using that bot. If you're interested in learning more about that, make sure to stay tuned till then. So first thing we're talking about here is APAC Promotion, advertising veve in the Asia Pacific region. So we're talking Taiwan, China, Japan, Korea, that area. So I know in the past there's been some people in the community who's expressed their, concerns about how veve isn't in those markets yet, that there are fans in places like Japan who are waiting to get on the app, and how they're concerned that veve isn't being introduced to these regions fast enough. So when it comes to this topic specifically, this is kind of how I break it down in my head. So first off, for anyone who watched the ecomi's partners and providers videos, a lot of those companies are owned by David, one of which is the RMG group. And this group actually specializes in bringing brands from the West to the East, okay? It's exactly what they specialize in. Now, David himself has also acknowledged that veve has an eager fan base in Japan. He's aware of this. In addition to David, you also have Alcon, head of licensing for ecomi, who both have rights to large IP across the APAC region. We're talking Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Look at David's Vagabond Toys brand. Search them on Google and you'll see some of the IP that he's currently selling in his stores right now. We know David's been flying around and networking, meeting licensors, artists, hardware manufacturers, all in the APAC region. And he did also state in our last community update video that they're focusing on bringing more Asian brands, specifically Japanese IP, onto the app this year. So when you take all this into consideration, plus things like the experience of David and Al, and you put it all in front of somebody arguing, oh, they're not doing it fast enough, what can that person say, right? You start to understand, okay, the team's aware of all this, right? You need to think about things that they've said in the past, done in the past, but are also currently doing, which is why I included points about him flying around and networking, them introducing more Japanese IP. Those are all newer things. Now, in order for the app to be introduced and used in countries like Japan, the languages spoken in those specific countries need to be offered as well. So this is an example we talked about in the past. For anyone who missed it, I'm going to brush through it again. But let's break down some examples of what it takes for the team to add these multiple languages. So first, they need to recruit members who understand the languages of interest. ChatGPT can be used here to translate the languages. However, take somebody like myself. I can take all the copyright on the veve app, put it into ChatGPT and translate it into Mandarin. But if I still don't speak Mandarin, I don't know if there's any typos or errors within that copyright. So for a professional company like veve who's trying to establish themselves, obviously they can't have spelling errors or things like that when it comes to translating languages. So it's still ideal to have team members who can speak those languages, but in this case, they can still use the bot to speed up the process. They would need to convert all existing content on the app, the website, articles, graphics. So when you think of articles like the OUP articles and the MCP articles, you have the roadmap graphics, all of that needs to be translated. They need to produce all future content in each language reliably. The keyword here is reliably. So when you start offering a new language on the platform, the last thing you want is a month later to take that language off. You can't do that, right? Once you start offering something, you have to stick with it, and they need to be able to provide that reliably. They also need to have a customer support team capable of answering inquiries in the languages offered. So again, you can kind of use something like ChatGPT here, but for anyone who ends up translating a language they don't actually speak themselves, They can't really identify any spelling issues, so it would still be ideal to have a support team that can speak the languages. Here's another example with MCP, right? So you have a lot of people complaining about how long it's taken for them to roll out this program. You know, every single time I talk about the MCP, I get somebody in the comments talking trash. So I kind of expect it with this one. But let's compartmentalize what Dan was talking about with regards to point calculation. So obviously, in order for you to fall into a specific tier in the program, you need to have a certain number of points. Those points are going to be calculated based off the number of collectibles or comics you're holding, the rarities that you're holding, how long you've been holding certain pieces for, among many other factors. But let's assume an account has 5,000 collectibles and comics, okay? Let's take a small pool of those 5,000 collectibles and comics, let's say 100, and think about how long it would take a member of veve's team just to count those 100, right? Based off the rarities, duration of time held, etc., etc. I would think a few hours at least. Now, once that team member is done counting those 100 comics or collectibles, now add 4,900 more, and one account is complete. But on top of this, each drop that veve does today, tomorrow, next week, next month, contributes to the amount of work that the team needs to do to complete the MCP calculations. So think about this. If I go and buy a drop on veve, or not even a drop, if I go and buy a collectible in the secondary market, if I'm an account whose points have not been calculated yet, then the comic or collectible I just purchased will be added to that tally whenever it's calculated. But if I'm an account that has already been calculated, that comic or collectible still contributes to my points. So the team has to go back and add that to the tally. So when you really start to break things like this down, you start to realize some of the steps involved. So in addition to just calculating points, all of the accounts that are active on the platform right now that are buying and selling pieces are all contributing to the amount of work that the team has to do to calculate these points. Now let's use the same process for whether or not we want to go for a drop. So when the announcement gets posted on veve socials and you start to see the Medium article and the drop price and the edition size and things like that, these are all things that you want to take into consideration when going for a drop on veve. What is the edition size of the drop, right? How rare is it? What is the drop price? Is it expensive? Is it on the cheaper side of things? How many poses / variants are there? Is it a Superman / Robocop type NFT? Is it a one pose, one set NFT? Or is it something like a Black Panther or a Storm where there's 5 different variants? How established is the brand, right? So the example I'll use here is actually Pilly Fantasy. I love focusing on areas where many people aren't focused on. And I think right now, Pilly Fantasy is a fantastic example. It's a very established brand over in the East that not many people in the West know about. So before the Eastern markets get on the app, I'm going to be one of the people in the West to take advantage of the opportunity. If you don't understand how established Pilly is, you can't do that. How is the overall market performing? Is it trending upwards or is it trending downwards? Something like Rambo, a one pose, one set major IP NFT, just dropped on the platform and is below retail. Something like Rambo in the bull market would not be close to where it is right now price-wise. What is the community saying on socials? That Medium article gets posted with the edition size and the drop price. What are people saying about it? Are they going to go for the drop? Or are they not? And lastly, what is your plan with the piece that you're buying? Is this a piece that you're collecting? Is it something you intend to hold long term that you really want to see just around your veve home and VR? Or is this something you're investing in? Are you stacking? Are you buying multiples because you want to flip it when prices appreciate? What is your plan long term or short term with the piece? And I did say we're going to round the video off with a chat GPT example. So let's do this live, all right? So I used 3D models as an example in the past. Let's use the same example just so it's easier to follow. I'm just going to cut to the question typed out. That way you guys don't hear a bunch of typing in my mic. But I'm going to ask the bot, come up with 10 3D modeling ideas for me to sell in the metaverse to make money. Let's see what it says. Okay, so I'm actually just going to stop generating it because I'm going to take the first idea here. We're going to break this down even further now. So I'm going to show you guys how you can take an idea using this tool and then break down step by step exactly how you can dive deeper. So I'm asking the bot, come up with 5 custom avatar skins I can create and sell in the metaverse to make money. Describe each of their respective appearances. Let's see what it says. And there we have it, 5 avatar skins, each with their own look and feel. So we have a steampunk adventurer. The avatar skin would feature a steampunk inspired outfit with a leather jacket, goggles, and metal accessories. The character's hair would be styled in the rugged, windswept look, and they would carry a leather satchel and various gadgets and tools. We have cyberpunk hacker. The avatar skin would feature a futuristic outfit with neon accents, including a sleek black bodysuit and a jacket with circuit board patterns. The character's hair would be styled in a slick back look, and they would wear cybernetic implants on their face, giving them a distinctly futuristic appearance. So as you guys can see, it's breaking down each of these avatar skins, what they look like. They even named them, but you can dive deeper. So let's have the bot create a special ability that each of these avatar skins possess. Alright, let's see what we got. Steampunk Adventurer. So the avatar skin has the ability to create steam-powered gadgets that can be used to navigate and explore the metaverse. Sounds interesting. These gadgets include a grappling hook, a steam-powered jetpack, and a device that can create temporary platforms in midair. Okay, very cool. Cyberpunk Hacker. The avatar skin has the ability to hack into virtual systems within the metaverse, allowing them to gain access to restricted areas, gather information, and even manipulate the environment. They can also use the cybernetic implants to enhance their physical abilities, giving them heightened speed and strength. That's cool. So as you guys can see, I'm just having the bot kind of dive deeper into certain points that I get back from certain responses. So we're going to take it a step further again. One of the things that it suggested for 3D models was creating 3D weapons. So now let's create a weapon that complements each avatar skin's unique ability. Let's see what it says. Steampunk Adventurer. So a powerful and versatile steam-powered rifle that can be modified with different attachments, such as a grappling hook launcher, a flamethrower, and a shotgun. The rifle can also be used as a melee weapon with a built-in blade. Cyberpunk Hacker. A high-tech hacking device that can be used to manipulate the metaverse environment and gain access to restricted areas. The device can also be used as a melee weapon, emitting a powerful electric shock to incapacitate enemies. So these sound pretty cool. Let's create a unique name for each of these weapons. And just like that, 5 cool names. So the Steampunk Adventurer is going to have the Steam Shot Rifle, the Cyberpunk Hacker, the Electric Saber, and then we have the Elemental Blade, the Enchanted Wand, and the Cannon Cutlass. So as I mentioned in our previous video, guys, if you're already creative, a tool like this complements your creativity. So hop on to ChatGPT, try it out for yourself, start typing out some ideas, and see how deep you can dive into them. Again, the better you are at doing this, the more opportunities you're going to create for yourself when the Veveverse drops. And that is going to conclude episode 55 of Veve Investments, guys. I hope you enjoyed. We talked a little bit about community sentiment, as well as the importance of compartmentalization, and several examples of me using it. So if you guys enjoyed the content, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what you want to see in a future episode. And as for our next, I'll catch you then.